When the Dutch filmmaker Theo van Gogh was stabbed but to death by a Muslim fanatic for making a film that was highly critical of Islam, there was international outrage. The woman who wrote the script is now one of Holland's most controversial politicians. Born a Muslim of Somali descent, Ayaan Hirsi Ali rose to fame for her outspoken attacks on the treatment of women in Islam.
The people I work with are not against Islam. They're critical of Islam. They're absolutely not against integration. They just said, let's analyze the whole immigration situation. There was unplanned migration, and now we can move on to planned migration. And they support me in fighting for the rights of Muslim migrant women, absolutely.
Surely one of the reasons for your popularity is that you say what Westerners want to hear about Islam.
On the contrary, Westerners don't want to hear anything rude about Islam. In fact, they're frightened by the emotion, organized emotion of most Muslims not to have or to criticize Islam or take offense. So in fact, most Westerners are telling me, address the issue of the oppression of women, but please don't link it to Islam. Address the issue of terrorism, but don't link it to Islam.
Well, what do you say to those women who are still working within Islam to try to change it, who see you as so extreme that you're actually alienating people?
Well, again, I think that is assuming that the people who listen to me and who hear my criticism of Islam and who are Muslims are irrational beings who cannot deal with the criticism I give. That's one. Two, how are they reforming Islam? Because Islam and Islamic civilization has been stagnant since the 11th century. And every time any Muslim or someone like me who was brought up with Islam made an attempt to review some of the dogmas, like the place of the Prophet, and like is the Quran written by God or by man, the sexual morals. Those individuals have always been killed or have gone into exile or have been tortured or put in prison. And there is no one, today, one Muslim country or a country with a Muslim majority where what I am doing is possible.
Do you accept that the stance you've taken, the films you've made, have made you such a figure of hate that you may even die in this cause?
Freedom does not come cheap, and that a price has to be paid, and the price is me having protection. I'm not really worried about the physical violence part because I have protection. What I'm worried about is the huge lobby that is being set up with money to influence Western governments and Western media to avoid the subjects that I deal with because they are offensive.
And how do you now view Theo van Gogh's murder?
The forces that have silenced Theo van Gogh will stop at nothing, and they will not only use violence, they will use every possible means that they have. They'll use money, they'll use influence, they'll use emotional blackmail, they'll use anything to silence me and other individual Muslims who are critical of Islam.